Hello. Today I'm going to present you two things. The first thing is how we developed a method to share museum experiences with non-visitors. And the second thing is how we adopted that approach for older adults with or without cognitive impairments. So, first of all, we wanted to extend the experience, but why? And why do we want to extend the experience? There are clear advantages. To attract new visitors and to create interest among non-visitors, to help people that cannot physically come to the museum, and to support follow-up activities. And one way that has been shown to be a proven method to help sharing the experience after has been bookmarking. And people have been investigating various ways to bookmark or save exhibits of personal interest during the visit, from typical guides where you can save the objects that you like, to kiosks inside the museums. However, despite the great potential of bookmarking, the systems developed to date showed limited success, in a sense that people like bookmarking when they are inside the museum. However, once they go home, they never check the bookmarks that they actually did. And this is really, except for several successful cases, which have really high click-through rates, very few of the applications have actually successed in this. So what we wanted to find is that which technologies can encourage and enhance sharing without disturbing the visitors in the actual visit. Then that means not to be too intrusive. Like, I'm going inside the museum, I'm seeing something that I like, but it's not like I'm on the cell phone all the time. And how can we bring this museum experience to other non-visitors, especially challenged individuals or older adults, and with or without cognitive impairments? And we don't want to study this just based on pure research. We want to have a more user-centric approach that is going through a set of user studies to find the perfect solution, because we don't think that we decide one solution and that is it. The world, it ends. It's always a constant change, it's a constant improvement. So what we did, we tried one really simple, we developed two interfaces. One interface, it's a kiosk interface that in that kiosk, you can see exhibits. In the kiosk, you can see only the list of exhibits, and a field where you can put your email. And once the visitors were selecting the most interesting objects, and entering the email address, they were emailing booklet at home. And that is I'm going to show you now how the booklet looks like. Okay. So it's really. So I will show you, it's really interactive one. So like, for instance, you can also swipe the page like this. And then you can zoom in the picture. Now, since it is demo, it's not going to work. Okay, no, okay, fine, it worked. Or you can have links to other resources connected with the same author. You can read a full description, or you can share on the social networks. Share or send an email, or you can go to the next one. Okay, so this is what. Do presentation. Okay, perfect. So this was the solution that we put inside the Museum of Contemporary Arts in Rovereto, that is quite close to the city where I come from. And we did several phases of research. In phase 1, we investigated general sharing habits with face-to-face interviews. In phase 1, we also asked the people for their email addresses. So they were coming inside the museum, we were approaching them, and we were asking them in general whether they share, what do they share, and we were asking them for their email. And in phase 2, we sent them an email questionnaire to the same people And we asked what did they share after this visit. In phase 3, we positioned the kiosk inside the museum. And in phase 4, we asked for possible improvements. Also, in this way, we were having a way to trace whether they opened the booklet or not. So that was done besides. And we also had a way to trace whether they shared on Facebook or not, or on social networks in general. And what we understood is that because we had, like, in phase 2, we had before our approach, and then in phase 4, we had results after our approach. What we understood is that % of people sharing the experiences improved a lot. And this really worked, in a sense that when we were there, when we were inside the museum, we saw some of the times we were removing the kiosk because we were going for lunch, and we left some even printed out forms of the interface, but it was really simple, like choose your artifact and then leave the email address and we will send you the booklet at home. And people really liked it. I remember once coming back after lunch and I basically saw like one bunch of, they all left like a bunch of papers, all of them filled out. Oh yes, awesome. When we were sending them the second, the email questionnaire, they were like, they even thought that we are from the museum, so they really cared, and they were even leaving like comments. Oh yes, the lights in the parking are not working, but they really, but the idea, like they really liked the idea, and even the general sharing of the museum experience of social network also increased from being before 4% to 10%. However, and this was a good way to storytell the museum experiences to other non-visitors. However, we understood that the booklet, as it was designed, it was really nice. However, we understood that it was not adapted for people with older adults who are not used to use technology in general. So what we did is that first we even brought the booklet as it was. We brought it to a care home, and we asked the participants to try to try to use it. And we took a lot of notes. What did people do wrong? And after several design process iterations with them, we had a final version that we can test. And part of the simplifying the interface and adapting for older adults required the use of large fonts, high contrast, simple sentence structure. And also we decided that we need to change the platform, right? I mean, people, older adults are, there has been work showing that for older adults, the most adapted platform would be tablet. So we decided to use iPad as a platform. And after all these changes, we came up with the final outlook, which was quite simplified, right? We removed the sharing part because we understood that the older adults don't even want to use social networks. We really made the font much bigger. You remember here there were links. Now there are kind of this, I don't know how they're called in English, but you can open pieces of paper, yeah, exactly. And they also, because some of them cannot read, even though they are really, they don't see well. So audio was the best for them. So we left both of the options, like audio and reading. But I don't know, we really increased the font, and again, they were not able to read. Okay, I think I can show this one live too. Okay, yeah, it's this one. Much simplified. Okay, presentation again. Fine. Also, I have to stress out here that in my group we are working in improving quality of life for older adults, and I am the one working more in cultural segment. Like people are working in different segments. And what we understood so far from our experience is that embedding real-life metaphors in interface design is something that really works for them. in a sense that in this case, since it is a booklet, if we make the parallel to older adults, like you can use this interface, like you use a normal book, it's much easier for them to understand technology, since they are not used to technology in the first place. So we are speaking here about 80 plus, just to clear it out. So these people have, as I will show you later with our participants, they really did not have any experience with technology. So simplifying the user interface in a way that they can make a parallel with something they know, with a real life metaphor they know, always works. We at least we understood so far that it works much better. So what we did usability evaluation of the booklet with older adults. We had a group of cognitively impaired people and a healthy group. And we did it in a collaboration with one care home, which is near the lake of Garda. I don't know, maybe you have heard, it's quite famous in Italy. And one daily center where older adults go during the day, but after that they go back home. Yeah, and the participants, right? So we had, I'm sorry, here there is a typo, 20 healthy participants and 10 with significant cognitive decline. And only 2 of the participants reported any computer use, while in total 4 reported any daily use of cell phone. And before I go further, I would like to say who are, like I'm speaking all the time about cognitively impaired, right, group, and who are they? The group included people who have an index of mini mental state examination below 25. In our case, it was 14. So that makes them moderately cognitively impaired. And in our case, yeah, they had all Alzheimer's. So that made even worse, since they are, like you explain something and after 5 minutes they forget. And the experience was divided in 2 segments. The evaluation was divided in 2 segments, a workshop and an actual evaluation. We had to perform a workshop, since only 4 of the participants said that they had any daily cell phone usage. So we had to first explain what is iPad. What is iPad? So it's a set of, we described the concept of homepage, set of icons where you can perform different functions. If you choose camera, you can take a picture. If you choose homepage, you can. So in the workshop we explained the general concept of iPad, and then the actual evaluation. And we observed several forms of bias, that the samples were relatively small. And since the participation was on voluntary basis, we noted the results may represent people that want more technology in general. So we evaluated the performance on 4 tasks: on open the booklet, browse the booklet, interact with the booklet, that is zoom in a picture, or close the picture after it has been zoomed in. So open the booklet. These are the results, but first let me explain the task. Open the booklet was, we had an icon on the iPad, which was like, if you press it, then it was opening the booklet. And for a healthy group, it was an easy task. For a cognitively impaired group, it was a little bit difficult, since a lot of them were having difficulties in having the right sensitivity. That is, they were pressing, and then they were keeping the finger pressed, and then it was entering the edit mode of the iPad, you know, when all the icons are shaking, or the hands were shaking. They have naturally Parkinson's. So we, like a guideline after this, we said, when designing for older adults, we must take these things into account. So people will tend to press longer, and their hands may be shaking, so they may not be able to press well. And this was for opening the booklet. However, for browsing the booklet, again, right, the cognitively impaired people performed much less. However, compared to the first task, in this case, the cognitively impaired people performed much better. here we see that 50% of the cognitively impaired people performed well. This is really positive result, taking into account that these people were tending to forget. So you explained the task and they were forgetting totally 5 minutes after you explained. However, since this was really similar to actually browsing the book, since we explained to them, how can you browse this booklet? Imagine like this is a book. This is a book, although it seems like it's tablet. Just browse. Arrive to page 3. And it worked. Somehow it magically worked. Even some of them did like this, and then browse. And after that, we disinfected the iPads. We said, okay, no, this is. Or even better, since I don't know if you remember, this was, okay, when you see here the booklet, right? You can see that this part of the book you don't see. So that it actually really worked. For me, it was the biggest proof of concept, because as they were keeping the iPad, she wanted to go back. This girl that was this old female, Lydia, and she tried to do like this. Yes, she tried actually, go back, and I was like, oh, okay, this is actually maybe one working. So browse the booklet was, again, the healthy group performed better, but it actually kind of worked. And Zoom in was really okay. We have a huge performance in healthy group. In the cognitive decline, it was around 40. However, they were tending to forget for this. We were explaining, since it was not intuitive, it wasn't intuitive, they were forgetting. So yes, it was doable. However, it didn't suggest any familiar concept that they can relate. So it didn't work. And close the picture after being zoomed in. There was an X button, right? So people, so again, if they knew how to do it, they were doing it well. But again, it was the same. And here are all the results basically summed. What we understood is that browsing the booklet was found to be easy. And the general booklet metaphor was found to be easy to use for them. However, we need more research to investigate how other real-life metaphors can be put into interfaces in order how we can embed these more complex interactions, and we think it's possible. It just asks for a lot of research. How we can embed more complex functions into user interfaces that are really natural to use, not only, and it's a lot of work, it's complex, but it can be done, at least from this we have seen. And in the next stage, because we thought, okay, so in this way, we, in one way, extended the experience to also people that cannot physically come. However, we want to be even more socially inclusive, in a sense that if one person cannot come inside the museum because of some challenges that the person has, why the person cannot visit the museum remotely from home during the whole family is inside the museum. So now we are working on a narrative-based approach in which the family is guided into the museum with a narrative story. However, and the remote participant can contribute somehow to this visit. So their contribution is important, like for instance in mystery solving. Let's put it like this. And they feel like they are part of the group. And this is really possible since now we also have a new test bed in Trento. There is a new Renzo Piano building, probably you have heard, new Museum of Sciences, which is called MUSE. It's Museum of Sciences, and they are really trying to make this work. So we are working interactively with them. And thank you all for your attention, and this is my Twitter.